am Doug Seeman. I've been in real estate since 2008. I am a associate broker with HomeSmart Advantage Group.
Great. So, in your words, can you describe the difference in general between more standard forms of real estate brokering and exchanging?
Uh, I guess you'd say that standard real estate is what most people perceive as standard real estate. Would be it's a retail transaction. You're trading goods or a note for services. Uh, Less and less deals are done that way. In conventional real estate, what they call conventional real estate, the real estate companies have the lowest risk in this kind of a transaction. So they like to see nice, clean transactions. A home buyer buys a house, gets a conventional mortgage or a government mortgage, VA mortgage, buys a house, moves in, no complications, and that's it. But these days, there are all kinds of deals to be made, and not everyone has great credit, but they're pretty good risks. Most everything that people do these days is exchange. I mean, if you think about what you do in your regular life, if you get an Uber, that's an exchange. It's sharing. It's a sharing economy. It's an exchange economy, trading goods for services. In most of the world, people are trading rather than using cash. And in fact, cash is so hard to move, especially in a large transaction, that people are moving to cryptocurrency and a lot of other forms of currency. I mean, today, there was a presentation where a one of the exchangers showed up with a fistful of jewels, looking to buy a townhouse or a home to use as an Airbnb. I mean, that's all exchange. There's no conventional transaction in there anywhere. None of this is going to go through a bank or escrow. This is going to be between private parties, and they're going to do something that leaves everybody satisfied.
So, what are the benefits of exchanging, and what are the benefits of a 1031?
Well, generally, the benefits of 1031 are tax benefits. You're basically trading one house for another house, or you're taking a house and putting it into a pool of houses, and then selecting another house from that pool of houses. It's sort of like being in a club. But as you're seeing in this particular meeting, you could take that pool, your house that's in a pool of houses, give it a cash value, and then use that to buy a house that's not in the pool, sort of bringing that house into the pool. And the transactions can be as straightforward as trading one house for another, or it could be trading one house for another house, for a boat, for an airplane, back to a house, and then back to. So everyone in the chain is getting what they want. Everyone feels satisfied that they're earning just equity, and you're able to move properties, move possessions and items, so that if you have something that's not particularly of value to you, you can't use it, then you can trade it. I didn't realize that there was going to be a personal property trading going on at this conference, and I have paintings I could have brought that we just don't have room to hang them. Exchanging is for people that think outside the box. It's for creative people. If you are a lineal thinker, you think only in straight lines. If you can't visualize something that doesn't exist, it's probably not for you. Or let's say you want to get into exchanging and you are a lineal thinker, you can partner with someone who's creative. So you have a creative broker or an exchanger that you partner with that can not only help you see the deals, but then can explain them to you in layman's terms, lay them out on a piece of paper so they make sense, because ultimately a deal has to be good for everybody involved. And a deal has to be explainable. If it's a lot of hocus pocus or mysterious things going on, there's probably something wrong with the deal. But if someone can draw it out with a flow chart on a piece of paper, then you probably have a legitimate deal going on.
What's the sense of the community? What do you get from the
It's
people here?
it's. I came here. I was very nervous. If you're the biggest fish in a pond, you're pretty comfortable. If you jump into a pond with a lot of big fish, when I had to describe myself, I'm the guy that thinks outside the box. Except out here, I'm just a regular guy. All these people think outside the box. And what's more is I have transactions that I brought that if I put them in MLS or I put them someplace else, they could sit there for a long time. All I did is put them in a book and show them to the people here, and I have offers. Properties that normally would take 6 months to a year to sell. Coming here, there are people that want to get involved with these transactions. I'm not taking advantage of them. These are good. These are good products, but all the people in the Tucson pool where I'm from aren't or have similar needs, similar wants, and very few of them are out of the box thinkers. But here I'm in a room full of people, and each of the people in the room is representing anywhere from 2 to 100 people. So somebody says, I'm working on a project in Nevada and I need to build some duplexes. And I remember that my friend and partner is building flat pack houses in a factory in Florida. He's from Canada and he's shipping them by rail car anywhere in the country. And these are houses that can be assembled in a few days. And it's perfect for this guy's project. So I sent him a message saying, "Hey, I got this." He just grabbed me in the hallway and says, "Hey, I'm interested in your buildings." He says, "I used to work with U.S. Steel, so I understand steel houses." But it turns out he didn't understand it because this is a new concept. These are flat pack houses. It's like going and buying cabinets that are unassembled, and you just stand up the walls and put it together, and now you have a house.
In contrast to normal real estate brokering, it feels like the goal isn't necessarily to get it signed. It's more to get the right person involved.
Right. You get the right people, and the deal will take care of itself, really, because somebody will share your vision, and I guess that's what it really comes down to: sharing a vision.
Can you recall a memorable deal that was memorable
Right.
more than just
So
making money?
so this is that sharing a vision thing I was talking about. Uh, we had a house that was not selling. It was $100,000 house in Tucson, and it's what they call a mother daughter. So it's a house with a little apartment stuck on the side, and it wasn't selling at $100,000. We had a lot of people that wanted to rent it. Not a lot of people wanted to buy it. We got tired of renting it. We don't want to rent it anymore. So I took it off the market, left the sign up in front, and I went inside to reconfigure the interior walls. And while I was in the process of doing that, I was framing new walls. A person came in off the street. He was a fairly new citizen. He was a senior citizen, uh, and this is in Tucson, Arizona. He had never owned a home before. His daughter had good credit. He says, "I want to buy this house." I said, "Well, when I'm done the remodel, this house is going to be 115, and before we were selling it for 100." He says, "I want to buy it for 100." And he says, "But I have no money." He says, "But I am a handyman. I can finish this remodel for you." And that would be my earnest money. That would be my equity in the house. So we wrote him up a deal for the $100,000. He was getting an FHA loan, which has very high requirements for the quality of the house. So he had to remodel the house to FHA standards. We supplied the materials. So he wasn't out of pocket on the materials. It was just his labor he put in. He completed the project, got the FHA loan, was able to buy the house, and using just his labor as the earnest money and the down payment. And he bought the house for the $100,000. He wanted to buy the house because his son was the manager of the auto shop on the end of the street, and his son can drop off his new baby at mom's. She can watch the baby all day. He can come home for lunch at the end of the day, pick up the baby, and go back home. And this house was in the perfect location. So we made the deal. We gave him a long escrow period, so he was able to finish the job, finish the remodel. We closed, and this house changed his life, changed his daughter's life that was living with him in the mother-daughter, his son's life, which was dropping off the baby, and they were watching the baby. Then it changed the life of everyone in his church because their Bible group started meeting in that house because it was the perfect location. And it changed the lives of so many people. The house next door, they went through a divorce. Their son was a real estate agent, but they couldn't use their son as the real estate agent. So they used me, and I got to get in that house, help her get that house fixed up because her house wasn't going to sell in its present condition. So for $3,000, we got that house in marketable condition and sold the house in 10 days at full asking price, the house next door. So there's two transactions, changed lots of lives. Everybody came out happy. The sellers came out happy. The buyers were amazingly happy. The whole community of friends was happy. And that's what it's about. It's about changing lives. I went into real estate in 2008 when people were getting out of real estate. And people said, why are you doing that? And I said, I don't want employees anymore. And people really need the help. So that's why I went into real estate at a time when people were getting out. People were going crazy in 2008. And now I'm doing that. I'm helping people.